about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Dali, 1-877-DOCDALI. So now we're getting into the thick of allergy season with all the pollens and the grasses and the weeds and the flowers and the blooming. And, you know, yeah, it's very pretty outside, but this is one of my least favorite times of year. And I actually dislike it more than the summer. And you would think I'd really dislike the summer because I have another birthday coming up and all that. But it's because I can't stand my allergies. I get such bad allergies this time of year. Well, you need to be really, really careful with the medications you're using for allergies, especially your antihistamines. So we know antihistamines can come with a variety of side effects: dry mouth, confusion, fatigue, nausea, drowsiness. In some cases, it can even affect the liver. And the side effects of antihistamines, there's a lot of them, but we hit the antihistamines, you know, because, you know, like the diphenhydramine or the brand names Claritin and Zyrtec and Allegra and Zizal, because they control our symptoms. Benadryl, diphenhydramine, will make you, has been very, very known to cause drowsiness. So many of us will take other antihistamines, such as Claritin or Zyrtec. But a lot of people don't realize that sometimes those can make them drowsy as well. Well, this is what happened to me with an antihistamine, which was really weird. I've never had this happen before. So my allergies were really bad the other night. And I'm in bed, and the dog is there, you know, and I'm like, am I allergic to you? And my allergies just start to, you know, come in, and my nose starts to run and my eyes start to itch. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Well, I was in bed and I wanted to go to sleep, so I took a Benadryl. I took a 25 milligram Benadryl. All right. I fell asleep. I woke up the next morning and I wasn't that groggy. So I wake up yesterday morning, get my stuff together, exercise, get everything ready for my day. But I had to pick my husband up he had to drop a car off. And so I had to pick him up from the repair shop yesterday before I went in, and I had a disability exam to do, etc., for a patient. So I had a pretty busy morning. And there was traffic, and I wasn't exactly sure which repair shop my husband was at, so I used my GPS. And the GPS is telling me you will get off at the Rainbow exit. Now, for those of you who have, you know, aren't from Las Vegas, Nevada, Rainbow is a huge artery. And I've had my office on Rainbow. I know Rainbow very well. But I'm driving and I'm listening to this GPS and I'm like, but there's no exit off the freeway to Rainbow. There's an exit off the 95, but not off the 215. So the GPS is wrong. Okay, well, one thing I've learned about computers is they're never wrong. Okay, I mean, compared to me. And I got to tell my husband that I'm not going to be able to find this place because the GPS is telling me that there's an exit off the freeway that doesn't exist. Now I'm driving. Everything else is going fine. Listen to the news, listen to music, whatever. And then I'm like, oh, wait a second. Yes, there's a major exit. In fact, I have taken this exit multiple times. The Rainbow exit off the 215 freeway. Again, I live in Southern Nevada. And I was like, so I tell my husband, I go, either I'm really sleep deprived or I can't take antihistamines for my allergies because I thought the GPS was wrong, that there was no exit off the freeway. Now, that's kind of frightening. Now, I mean, I remember everything else. I know my kids' names. I'm alert. I'm oriented. I was able to do my show. I know some of you are probably like, yeah, Daliah, it sounds like you're on Benadryl with every show. But I was able to do my show. I was able to do everything else I had to do that day. But for me to forget something so obvious, you need to really rethink about what you're taking. So, you know, for my allergies today, I'm probably just going to do some Flonase, which is a nasal steroid. I don't like sticking things up my nose. That's why I didn't get invited to any parties in the 80s or 90s. I just don't like putting things in my nose. But I'm a little nervous about these and I don't take any other medicine. So it's not like it was a drug reaction. I'm not drinking. I'm not there. There's no reason for me to forget a main exit off a freeway and and I took the exit. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. There's a rainbow. But I've taken that exit a million times before. So long-term antihistamine use, and luckily I don't take these medications, but long-term antihistamine use has been linked to dementia. But what about short-term? If you have allergies and you're popping an antihistamine so you could get about your day, so your nose isn't running and you're not just always congested like I sound right now, I don't want you getting one of these rare, mishaps. And it reminded me, and I'm a doctor, right? I know sometimes I don't sound like one. I mean, I understand the power of a pill, and I know just one medication and the chemistry behind it could really, affect your physiology. I get that. But that bothered me. I want control. I want full control over my mind. So I'm not telling you to not take antihistamines, but to understand that every time you pop a pill, you could have a different effect, even an effect you've never had. I've never had that with Benadryl before, or antihistamines, never had that. And they work really well. They, prevent itching, hives, allergies. I don't need to the next day forget an exit on a freeway that I've taken for years. Doesn't make sense. So if you do suffer from allergies and you're like, Daliah, Dr. Daliah, I got to take pills all the time for my allergies, get checked out by an allergist or get checked out by your medical provider and look at some other options that might mitigate the need for you to be, frequently hitting medications. An issue I have with the nasal corticosteroids, even though they're great in that they're not, necessarily in the antihistamine class, but they're nasal corticosteroids, is you got to start them 2 weeks before allergy season. And then I would need to use them all the way through to June for my allergy season. And then I could start getting nosebleeds from that. So talk to your medical provider. We've talked about allergies. We'll obviously revisit the subject. There's a lot of other options, whether there's desensitization shots or Kenalog shots. But just be careful with these antihistamines, people. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Don't go away. Hi guys, Dr. Daliah here. Addictions can sneak up on us and come in many forms, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, video games, porn, or something less obvious such as food, internet, or shopping. Addiction can seem innocent at first and then evolve into an insurmountable evil. In our book, Addiction Basics, Caitlin Kalikas and I dive into the common addictions and provide tips for identifying and preventing these before they sneak in and take over our lives. Addiction Basics can be found on Amazon or my website, drdaliah.com. Check it out.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
At Hotshot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
The cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hotshot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hotshot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hotshot Secret, powered by science.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Now, don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to totalwellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. totalwellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dali, 1-877 DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and YouTube. Click like and subscribe. So how should schools discipline our kids? I went to 12 schools growing up, 4 high schools, 8 different grade schools. And it was interesting, depending on the school district I was at, how they disciplined. I'm sorry, my allergies are kicking up because I didn't take an antihistamine. Apologize, my allergies. But I was spanked in a few of the different schools, and it also depended on the years. But I was put in a dunce cap in the 2nd grade. I remember that. Mr. Eby, my art teacher, made me have a dunce cap. I wasn't very artistic, and I don't know what I did to tick him off, and he was really mean. But so he made me sit in the back of the room with the dunce cap, and I remember crying, and I think it was worse that I was crying, but I was, upset that I had to sit with the dunce cap. Mind you, I was a good student. I just couldn't draw or do whatever. I think I was just making jokes. And then I remember getting spanked 4th grade, 5th grade, and 6th grade, getting called up to the room to get a paddle. I remember one teacher would hit us with his cane, and that was 80s, in the 1980s. And then I got older, so I don't know if maybe they were still spanking students, or now that you're older, it was hard to spank. You got to keep your pants on. You didn't have to take your pants down to get spanked. But that did nothing for me because, if you grow up with in a home where there's a belt, a paddle was nothing at school. And in fact, your friends are giggling, you get back and you're giggling. And the dunce cap made me cry because I was 7 years old at the time. But, getting spanked did nothing. And I'm glad they stopped that. And I would get in trouble in school because I would make jokes. I was class clown. I didn't cheat. I got good grades. I did what I was supposed to, except from a behavior standpoint, I like to make jokes. And I mean, the teacher would just pitch them. I mean, they would just throw stuff at you. And at the class, and I'm like, I could just come out with the one-liners. Now, that has proven very, very helpful now in radio and media, but back then got me spanked. And I remember there being kids in my class where the teacher just didn't know what to do with them, and they really struggled. And so all the teacher could do is kick them out of class. And over time, we noticed that teachers struggled more and more with how to discipline kids. In the olden days, they would just hit you. They'd smack you with rulers or smack you upside the head or whatever. But, because of child abuse laws, and understandably so, can't be doing that and don't be doing that. And so telling them time out or getting them out of class, and this kid's like, yeah, I don't want to be in class, up yours. What teachers have struggled to find an effective punishment. Well, one thing that was effective for a little period of time was calling the parents. We're going to call your parents. And you're like, oh my gosh, if my dad finds out, I'm going to get a whooping. Oh no. And of course, mom's going to tell dad. And so there was that fear. But over the last few decades, a lot of kids don't necessarily have a father at the home or a mother at the home. And there's really not a lot of discipline. And so they, who are you going to call? And if you do call a parent, they're working. I mean, yeah, they might get really mad that they have to leave work to pick you up, but people feared that less. So we've started to see a lot of mishaps, and teachers and principals stumble and make some pretty big errors trying to figure out how to discipline a kid when they're not getting disciplined at home. And they're not being told by the parents, you better quit acting up because you're going to, get in trouble when we come home. Like we saw one principal, I think, zip-tied an autistic kid. Now, the kid was like, I guess, running around and throwing things and knocking over bookshelves. but you can't restrain a kid in zip ties legally in some states. And so President Trump has signed an executive order as it pertains to school discipline policies. And he wants to, he says here, according to Section 1, the federal government will no longer tolerate known risks to children's safety and well-being in the classroom that result from the application of school discipline based on discriminatory and unlawful equity ideology. Now, as an example, he cites in January 2014, the Department of Education and the Department of Justice jointly issued a Dear Colleague letter regarding school discipline. In that letter, the Department of Education and the Department of Justice explained that schools could be found to violate Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and therefore could lose federal funding if their disciplinary decisions ran afoul of the newly imposed disparate impact framework under which race-neutral disciplinary policies applied in an even-handed manner may be improper if members of any racial groups are suspended, expelled, or referred to law enforcement at higher rates than others. The letter effectively required schools to discriminate on the basis of race, he states, by imposing discipline based on racial characteristics rather than objective behavior alone. He said the consequences harm students in schools. A 2018 report from the Federal Commission on School Safety noted evidence that because of the 2014 letter, schools ignored or covered up rather than disciplined student misconduct in order to avoid any purported racial disparity in discipline numbers that might catch the eye of the federal government. As a result, students who should have been suspended or expelled for dangerous behavior remained in the classroom, making all students less safe. He says, as the commission found, when school leaders focus, so he goes on. And so he said, following the commission's report on December 18th, 2018, and the 2014 letter, he said, following that report in 2018, the 2014 letter was rescinded. And in 2023, the previous Department of Education and Department of Justice issued new guidance noting that statistical racial disparities in student discipline may indicate violations of law, encouraging schools to collect, analyze, and adjust their disciplinary policies in light of racial disciplinary data. The 2023 guidance, he says, thus effectively reinstated the practice of weaponizing Title VI to promote an approach to school discipline based on discriminatory equity ideology. So what he's redefining is schools were so afraid of possibly being in violation, and we did sadly throughout our history see discrimination with some races over others. However, schools in response are like, I don't want to get in trouble. Last thing I want to do is get in trouble. So no, you're not getting it. Then we're not going to say the students in trouble. And they wanted to avoid being discriminatory if there was a student that was acting poorly. So it's been a mess. What do you do with a student that is acting up regardless of their race or their gender or their ideologies? So he is, in this executive order, wanting discipline to be uniform and equal based on the action or the alleged crime, or so that rather than it, this is you, this is, your color of the skin, or, if anybody caught cheating, the school has written in writing, this is the discipline that happens when you're caught cheating. It doesn't matter who you are. Third grader, fifth grader, black, white, Hispanic. This is and the schools can document if the schools are worried that it's going to look like that they're picking on girls or they're picking on boys or they're picking on, you document what happened, get the parents involved. Again, it's all about the kid getting better. If there's discipline in school, we are noticing that if it doesn't get addressed properly, and I'm not a fan of the school disciplining, I really think it should be the parents. I like teachers being, I don't like sex ed, always being on the shoulders of the teachers. Parents should be stepping up. Parents should be doing more. But sadly, we have an attitude now where a landscape now where kids are telling their teachers off. They're cussing at them. They're not showing up to school. They're like, I'm not doing the assignment. They're failing. And these teachers, poor things, they have to concentrate on educating. And they're spending so much more of their time from a discipline standpoint. So we need better guidelines on discipline. We need it to be equity. Then we need to ensure that somebody is not getting discriminated more than anybody else. But we also have to make sure we, nip this in the bud and incorporate the parents. No spanking. That was ridiculous. 1-877 Doc Daliah. Don't go away.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
Diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regeneration. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
On the Dr. Daliah Show, thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Daliah, 1-877 DOCDALI. Well, I don't understand why the liberal media is freaking out about RFK Jr. wanting to ban dangerous food dyes. Again, this is pretty bipartisan. Is it just me, or is it like whoever just is anti-Trump is going against their own logic because they don't want to look like they're agreeing with something that can be helpful? I got to tell you, you'll really get the respect of your voters and the American people if you show some common sense. And I'm blown away by this. But people are criticizing RFK Jr. for wanting to ban certain food dyes. And I think it's about flipping time. According to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he said, we are going to get rid of the dyes, and then one by one, we're going to get rid of every ingredient and additive in food that we could legally address. Now, the FDA falls under the HHS. They have announced this week that they plan to revoke authorization for 2 synthetic food colorings, citrus red number 2 and orange B, within the coming months. I'm not going to miss it. Will you miss it? The FDA said it's also going to work with the industry to eliminate 6 remaining synthetic dyes. This is, by the way, being reported by Quartz. And these dyes include FD&C green number 3, FD&C red number 40, FD&C yellow number 5, FD&C yellow number 6, FD&C blue number 1, FD&C blue number 2. FDA is going to work to eliminate this by the end of next year. So what are some foods that are going to be affected by this? Well, Quartz is reporting, and some liberal media is freaking out, that this might affect Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious. Not Lucky Charms. Yes, Lucky Charms may not have that beautiful rainbow of colors or as vibrant. I got to tell you, Lucky Charms is a damn good-looking cereal. I love Lucky Charms. I like Lucky Charms because it was a treat when I would get it. I would only get it when I would see my grandma in California, and when we would go and stay at her apartment, she would give us Lucky Charms. We had to be quiet in the apartment because neighbors would yell, if we were making too much noise, and I'm not the quietest kid. And it's a delicious cereal. But do we really have to have vibrant colors on our marshmallows, which are full of sugar. They say Lucky Charms contains red 40, blue 1, yellow 5, and yellow 6 food dye. Dr. Thushara Galbadaj, a professor of public and global health at Texas Christian University, told Quartz that the move to rid the food supply of synthetic dyes is a win for public health and a step in the right direction. Many of the dyes, she says, including red 40 and yellow 5, have been flagged for potential links to hyperactivity in children and oxidative stress in the brain. Eliminating these additives will help make our food supply safer, particularly for vulnerable populations like children. One food I don't eat because it scares me how bright it is are Cheetos. I don't eat Cheetos. I know my boys loved them, but boy, are they bright. That is yellow 6 dye. Now, reformulating these products to make a Cheeto that bright and orange, and now kind of red for the spicy ones, not going to be easy. But there is going to be a phased approach. Gatorade may be less vibrant in color. And a candy I don't like, just because I'd rather eat chocolate, is Skittles. Skittles, these suckers, you could see across a football field. They're so bright and vibrant in their colors. Well, they use red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, blue 1, and blue 2. Vanessa Rossetto, nutritionist and CEO of Kalina Health, said the FDA's announcement to phase artificial dyes out of the U.S. food supply could be a big win. They say recognizing the high level of carcinogens and preservatives in foods filling our grocery stores is a step in the right direction and the first of many necessary changes. And, some people will say, but Dr. Daliah, I'm mixed on the studies as it pertains to cancer. Let's say it only caused cancer in animal studies. There hasn't been enough studies in human, cancer. But here's my thing. Let's say they don't cause cancer at all. Why are they there? We don't need our food bright. We don't. We just need our food nutritious and to taste good. I don't need it aesthetic. Now, I get it's a marketing scheme. The brightness isn't for you. The brightness is for the company. They could market it better. They want kids to go, wow-wee, look at this. That's all the color is doing. The color isn't to help you. If you're eating a bag of Skittles, does everybody come up to you and say, ooh, yeah, I want to have your number. Let's go on a date? No. You don't need the food to look a certain way. I mean, you need it to not look rotten. But all it does is help with the marketing of the product. Twinkies may be affected. Say, according to the ingredient level, Twinkies contains yellow and blue dyes. Now, even beyond that, Dr. Rossetto says Americans could benefit from steering away from processed foods and focusing more on whole foods into their diet. Ultra-processed foods, including dyes, additives, artificial sweeteners, obviously have no nutritional value. But I like a Twinkie every now and then. I probably eat a Twinkie once every few years. I don't actively buy Twinkies, even if they're on sale. And I think the reason why is you could eat one in one gulp, and then I'm still hungry. So I'm just not a big Twinkie eater. Sherbet, that Prairie Farms Rainbow Sherbet, according to Quartz, could also be on the list because of their colors. And so, I here's my thing. I like a steak, with the sizzling and the seared sides and the red in the middle, the pink in the middle, and the I don't like it bloody. I like my steaks medium, maybe medium rare, but medium. And that's probably a color scheme I maybe gravitate towards because I love meat. I got to eat less of it. And the color tells me about the temperature. By the way, the feel of the meat. You could tell a temperature just by the feel. If you could push it in too much, then you know it's not cooked. But if it feels firm, then it's overdone. If it's too firm, and if it's just the right bounce, then you know it's medium. So actually you feel the steaks if you can't cut that. That's how chefs do it. That's how they know the meat is done, because they could feel by touching the center. But what RFK Jr. is doing is about flipping time. I mean, let's get on this. I don't need Lucky Charms to make any. What are they? Procter and Gamble? I don't know who makes Lucky Charms. I think it's Procter and Gamble. I'm not sure, but I mean, I don't really care. Oh, General Mills. I don't really need General Mills to make any more money. I'll still buy Lucky Charms if I like the taste, and if it's fortified with vitamins, and if I don't have anything else healthy to eat for breakfast. But I don't need the bright colors. It's manipulation. And if these colors have no nutritional benefit, get it the hell out of our food. I mean, when you go to Europe, the food does not look that vibrant. It doesn't look that appetizing. Yet they're eating it. Trust me, people will still eat. And we don't want the kids to be following the light like a moth. We want them to go and eat the avocado toast or the egg. It doesn't have to be about looks with our foods. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Dr. Daliah here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Now, don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to TotalWellness.com. Supplements made for physicians, only now available to you too. TotalWellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
Self-reliance. It's not a phrase we hear much in our culture these days. It might conjure up images of pioneers, the West, rifles, strapping men, and strong women. But what does it mean for us in today's world? The New American Magazine has just released its latest collector's edition, Self-Reliance, Foundation of Freedom. In it, the New American authors outline the necessity of self-reliance for a free people, tips for self-reliant living, and the importance of not giving up hope. This unique edition includes articles on the self-sufficiency of the founders, preparing for a worst-case scenario, firearms, financial self-reliance, the importance of community, and many other topics by expert writers. Now, for a limited time, the New American is offering a bundle of 3 collector's editions, Self-Reliance, The Great Reset, and Trump World, for just $19.95. Available at shopjbs.org. Visit shopjbs.org today.
All right. Well, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So this headline caught my eye. A student who wants to be a Marine, high school football team captain, quarterback, has enlisted in the Marine Corps. Just got suspended from a Baltimore County high school. Why? What did he do that was so bad? Was he drinking? No. Was he failing his classes? No. He got busted because he wanted his school to put up American flags that were missing in a couple of the classrooms. Apparently it's a state law. But they suspended him. Now you see why Trump is like, okay, can we, relook at who's getting in trouble and why and what they're getting in trouble for? Parker Jensen is an 18-year-old Marine Corps enlistee, has now sued the school district, arguing he was wrongfully suspended because he voiced his concerns about the flags at Towson High School north of Baltimore. The flags were missing from 2 of his classrooms. So he approached the Baltimore Board of Education about the issue. That should have been a slam dunk. Yeah, because when you pledge allegiance, you pledge allegiance to the flag in the morning, you need to do that. So there has to be a flag in the room. According to his attorney, he really thought there'd be something that could be resolved easily. He was looking forward to finishing out his senior year. He's definitely discouraged that the school took this route in a way that retaliated and punished him. And it did. It put a big damper on his senior year. At this point, he's still not allowed to go to prom. He still has teachers that he knows do not like him, and that could affect his grades and ability to graduate. Now, this happened in February. He's quarterback, captain of the football team, but football season's over. And he noticed that 2 of his classrooms are missing the American flags. Now, the Maryland state law mandates that flags need to be in all public school classrooms. Not sure why he got in trouble. So he told Fox News Digital, this experience has impacted me personally in both positive and negative ways. On the negative side, I was suspended and trespassed unlawfully, had my character unfairly defamed by my administration, and was treated poorly by my teacher upon returning to school. Those moments were difficult and disheartening. However, on the positive side, he says, I believe my persistence in standing up for my patriotism may have opened others' eyes to the importance of patriotism in our school systems. At the end of the day, I believe it was beneficial, not just for me, but for the entire school community. It serves as a reminder that this is our responsibility as citizens to hold our government accountable, and I believe I did just that within my school. So Jensen approached the school's assistant principal about the issue in February. According to Fox News, it went unresolved. Then he brought it up again in March. Again, no response as of March 28th. So then he went to the Baltimore Board of Education about the issue. Good for him. We got a student that cares. Good for him. Now, from what we understand, the school board doesn't have any comment. He says Townsend High School was already in the process of placing flags in those classrooms, and the claims of inaction are inaccurate. But apparently they weren't there when he had an issue. Now, he had visited the board's office in person on March 28th, filed a complaint during office hours. He signed in as a visitor, recorded his actions with supervisors. But apparently they said that he had no right to record the public building. So I think he got in trouble for that. The supervisor demanded he stop recording, leave the building. And, so here's the thing. As a child in America, we treat children differently, and we're giving them the wrong message as opposed to children of other countries. I've been in multiple other countries. The flag is there and strong. You saw the German flag. You saw the Switzerland flag, the Israeli flag, the Italian flag, the flag of France, England. They're proud of their country. One thing we do in society is we introduce the concept of community. In order to convince people to pay taxes and to be good to other community members, you're a family. You ascribe to something. You belong to something. We're Americans. And a symbol, a very visual symbol, unites us. And it's a symbol that is, our country's flag, just like any other country has a flag. And we make it act like it's it's an option. You don't have to be American if you don't want to be. Well, then what are you? If you're not American, are you German? Are you Indian? Are you Brazilian? What are you? Students need to know where they belong. And if they don't want to be Americans, if they're under the age of 18, they need their parents to move them out of this country. But when a school is like, no, we're going to ignore requests for there to be a flag, what does that do to, what message are they giving kids? That you're in a country you could hate? Why? Because they don't like the president? Okay, we uphold the Constitution. It's a president that was voted in with a resounding majority. And you're going to not put up a flag? Or not? Now, it could just have been laziness. We could give them the benefit of the doubt, and this was just all coincidental. But you suspend the student? Okay, there's malice. And this is somebody who wants to be a Marine. He wants to serve his country. Thank God his faith isn't shattered. Why should anybody give their lives and put their lives at risk and leave their families and put careers on hold to serve the country when the adults you're doing this for don't even want you? I mean, we look at recruitment to the military. This is one of the reasons. I mean, I want to defend my fellow countrymen and women and defend America. But you have individuals who are like, well, this isn't my country. Didn't Richard Gere leave and then allegedly he came back and so thank God there are people that want us to fight for them and want, and support our military, support our first responders. But when a school does this, this really bothers me. And, what are our kids supposed to think? But I got to tell you, the younger generation is what helped put Trump back in office. More and more younger individuals are becoming conservative because they feel the other side is not representing them. And so, this is another example of really you're going to get punished because you want there to be a flag when people have to say the pledge to. It doesn't make any sense. And I know a lot of Democrats. We have a lot of Democrats in our family. Very nice. And they're moderate. But the Democratic Party needs to stop punishing somebody for wanting to be American. And they now have this reputation. And they shouldn't, because being a Democrat is just as American as being Republican. Just support American values. 1-877-DOC-LA.
Did you know that healthy arteries make a gas? Yes, actually 3 known gases. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch, and nitric oxide is a gas that's readily made all day long to keep our arteries open by relaxing the blood vessel walls. By doing this, our circulation is increased, bringing blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. Both age and poor diet can lead to a loss of this precious gas, and in turn, blood pressure can go up, energy can go down, and you can get tingling in your hands and feet. Well, our product, Ultimate Nitric Oxide, can easily help fix this lack of nitric oxide. Go to TotalWellness.com. That's TotalWellness.com, where we are helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.